What is up, YouTube? I am Shaq Central, and this is the Uniquely Hardcore Challenge. In this series, I am attempting to collect every unique item in Path of Exile, not just in the solo self-found game mode, but in hardcore as well. It's going to be a long grind, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So sit back and join me for today's unique experience. Hey guys, before we get into this week's video footage, I just wanted to take a quick second to give you kind of an update on what's been going on with the challenge and with the channel and all that stuff. So I decided to steal Lighty's idea where he usually starts with some kind of zoomed in footage of him standing in a town. So we're just gonna go with that. We do it out of love because we love Lighty. So the first thing you're gonna see in this video is footage from a private league that we took a week off to do. This is Badger Gaming's private league. Badger's one of the coolest Path of Exile streamers around, in my opinion. And he hosts a team event every league, which is a one-week private league that he runs with massive teams of people trying to do big objectives and competing against the other massive teams. So it's kind of like a 300-person party Path of Exile event. It's a ton of fun, and it was a really good break for the channel, and my intention was to finish up that league and then head right back into doing a lot of uniquely hardcore stuff. Unfortunately, that week-long reset was also followed by some health issues. This is a thing that I've talked about a little bit on stream. I don't really want to go too much into, but I think that some of GGG's decisions around their loot drops and the amount of items that drop and have to get picked up really caught up with me, and I had a couple of weeks of really intensely bad kind of wrist and hand pain that definitely wasn't helped by the fact that at work I'm also on a computer all day, but had some pretty intense pain that I actually ended up taking a couple weeks off of Path of Exile completely almost to try and work out. Feeling a lot better now, but during those weeks I actually just tried out Last Epoch, the beta. Had a lot of fun, but now that has kind of gone away, I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm ready to go back to finishing out the league strong. So yeah, you're going to see footage from Badgers League, followed by regular uniquely hardcore footage, and then we'll be catching up kind of quickly to the present day and getting ready for the next league announcement and the next league. So I'll catch you guys inside. Right, there it is. Okay. So I feel like this is a thing that goes under the radar, but if you want to guarantee spell damage, I feel like I've never seen anyone talk about this. There is a vendor recipe for a spell damage weapon. It's not only damage to spells. There is that. This is the recipe that everybody knows. There is a recipe right here for a magic weapon with increased spell damage. It is trading in chain belts and whetstones. So you get chain belts and whetstones. You can get spell damage weapons early on. Slot a couple of those in, or even one of them and a shield, and you can be pretty effective leveling with your cold dot. So
the very sand shivers with malice. There's a power here that welcomes me.
all right, not bad. Actually, legitimately not bad. All right, here we go. Build you going for? I am playing Vortex Occultist in Badger's Private League. Wow, what a hit. Those are all some big hits. Might die there. Oh, that was a sub fizz. That was nasty. Did not feel good. Did not enjoy. go. So you may notice, I think this came up the other night, but excuse me. This came up the other night, but you may notice how low our light radius is. I can show you when I go back, but basically I haven't put a single point into it. The reason is, look at this. Look how close you have to get for them to even see you. Even this guy. The radius of a vortex away is how close you can be without them seeing you. Because the light radius works like it makes it harder for you to get safe. It lowers your safe zone, but it also severely lowers the distance at which mobs can see you. Alrighty. We're going to come out of this map probably somewhere in the 6 to 7% to 95 range. Both maps, maybe, I don't even know, I'm bad at estimating, 15 to 20% already. For starting at whatever we started at, 66. And then I think we died. I think we're about at 66%, and then we died in the first map of the day because it was one I had never run before ever. That's not bad. It's like 80% of a level total in the mid-90s. 5 straight beachheads helps. That's what I hear. And there's a lot going on the screen.
Mid shot.
Here we go. All right, level 95. Let's go hit it. And then we're going to try. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I almost forgot. We're going to try an all. There's an all with no mods at super low level. Probably still going to die. But let's go hit 95, and then let's work our way over here to him and give him a try. We'll hit it on the way over. Actually, we're gonna hit it like almost right away. 1 mil XP out of 2.8 billion is like nothing. Actually nothing. It is straight, and it's like 2.9 billion. We're at 1 million away. It's like a pack. There we go. We did it. League goal accomplished. All right. Let's do this. Let's theoretically do this. I feel like I didn't do that correctly. I don't really know what correctly means though. Rough, rough, rough. Thank you. This damage is horrendous. This is what you get for going CI and not low life. Oh, I can't get out. I can't get out. Oh, that was bad. Yes, there's plenty of people doing it, actually. I think this is it for me. Can I get through it? Nope, nope, I'm gonna die. Can I not? Oh! Major! That was terrible. But I survived. That's all that matters. We survived. Oop, maybe. Oh, bad. Thanks, I hate it. Oh! I didn't have my instant flame dash up. Tried to flame dash. As soon as I reared back, I was like, yep, dead. That was fun. So yeah, this is not the way to build if you're going to take down all, by the way. Doing doing 40% of his life over 4 minutes is not great. Really, really, really like that. I would never, ever suggest this is for everyone, but it's definitely for me. Although I will stand by the fact forever that, or stand by my assertion that nothing will ever be a good group self-found. And it can be really in any form, like just the small economy where people are helping each other with their items. Like Badgers, if you missed last week, Badger ran his private leagues, which are these huge team events. This is the first time he's done one with 4 teams instead of 2, but it was literally 4 teams of 300 players all competing. So we were just handing out gear. Like each team had limitations. Like you had limitations on what classes you could play depending on which team you got assigned. And we were playing for specific objectives. But just like having a group that you're just actively pushing out gear to when you find gear for people and competing a little bit with others on like doing the same thing was immensely fun. Nothing will ever beat good group self-found, but SSF is the best. It's important to have the zombies up because they add so much damage to the carrying golem. The carrying golem gets damage per non-golem minion. You got to make sure your zombies are up. And in body armor, we do have an 84 astral plate. Can I 5-link this? Oh, if I can 5-link this, this is going to get stupid. It's got a chaos res roll. It's got a high life roll. All right, you know what? There's just no reason not to. All its suffixes are taken up, though, so I can't craft quality. That was what it was. I can't craft quality on it. Let's see if we can 5-link this bad boy. I'm going to go slow. I've rolled over 5 links recently. This game is easy. Game is easy. Now, I wonder if I can get... Hopefully I can get the right colors and only 29 chromes. What do I need? Green, blue in that 5-link. What an easy game. Honestly. Okay, so for anyone who watches the stream, we're playing carrying golems. We're leveling this up as a boss killer. I've been working on kind of what gear we want to go for next, what upgrades we want to make, and one of the big things was getting a large cluster jewel and just a cluster jewel setup in general. I wanted to get a large cluster that has minions deal 10% increased damage, and the big thing to go for is a Rotten Claws, which gives impale chance to the carrying golem, so we want to get their impale chance as high as possible. Managed to roll Rotten Claws. Look at this jewel. Managed to roll Rotten Claws on, I believe it was literally my second alteration. Hit it with a Regal and regaled into Feasting Fiends, which is life, damage, and a leech. So this is insane, and I think this is going to actually warrant our first... no, actually, I can't get another prefix, so actually I'm not going to use an exalt on it, but yeah, this is an insane jewel for what we want early on. This is amazing. I'd be looking for this thing in Trade League, so very pumped to get it. And I'm back almost immediately because this feels like it's getting a bit ridiculous. I don't think minion jewels are very hard to roll in general, but this is kind of crazy. The other 2 things I wanted are medium clusters with minions have 12% increased max life, and I got double ones with Feasting Friends, or Feasting Fiends again, so that's a total of 30 between the 3 of these. That's 30% damage, 30% life, and 1.2% life leech. This also rolled another one with 2 notables, Dread March, so the minions have life, move speed, fizz damage reduction, and chaos resistance, so we have our entire large and medium cluster jewel setup, so that is just insane to me, and we're pretty much set to go for jewels, and now we just need the passives for them. Alright, got a couple things I like, which are change a unique item into a random unique or random unique ring, amulet, or belt, so we got a couple blood sacrifices we made, toss one in there, get a life sprig, which we already have. Actually, I think I might only have one of. If I only have one, I'm keeping that. Yeah, I only have one, so definitely keeping that for leveling. And then I'm going to toss in... Yeah, I definitely already have a bunch of Dread Arcs. Let's just do that. And we get an Araku Tiki. Woof. Not great. All right, just a little quick few uniques that we found here. I actually ended up having... We're reaching the point where finding probably a good 15, 20, even 25 uniques for every, like, 5 new ones already. I thought that the stash tab had probably close to 30 of them that I ended up sorting through, and these were the only 5 out of them that were new. So that's kind of cool. But let's go through them real quick. So the first one is Triad Grip. It's a very cool pair of gloves. It's basically minion damage conversion. Depending on what color sockets you have, minions convert a quarter of their damage to a certain element or to chaos per different colored sockets. So for instance, I could use it in this build. There's actually a few people using it for carrying golems, basically converting it all typically most of the time to pure cold through pure green sockets. So that is an option. Lactonial Caress is a very common, very good leveling item. It's no level requirement. You can put it on as soon as you get into town. And the important thing is it's got some life on it, which is nice, and attack and cast speed. The big thing is you have a 10% chance to gain basically at random 1 different type of charge per kill. And it has Conduit. If you've never seen Conduit before, you share those charges with nearby party members. So it's really cool, especially if you're leveling in a party or just on your own. It's still very, very powerful early on. Mark of the Red Covenant is a helmet, is another minion-based helmet. Gives you some energy shield, which is nice, but it's really about your minions. So your minions have a huge amount of movement speed. If you're using SRS, they gain a very large amount of damage, and then basically it's primarily an SRS helmet, so that your Raging Spirits deal a ton more damage. You cannot have nearly as many of them, but their hits ignite and their melee strikes deal splash damage. So, interesting helmet, but yeah, not super common or super, I should say, super powerful until SRS gets a little bit of a buff there. Divide and Conquer is a jewel, so it is a threshold jewel for Spectral Shield Throw. It's very interesting. As long as you have 40 total dexterity and strength, you get 3 buffs instead of the typical. I think most of them are 2 if I'm remembering correctly. It also has the line of increased attack damage while holding a shield just as a base, but it chains a whole bunch of times. It throws shard projectiles, Spectral Shield Throw fires shard projectiles when chaining. Sorry, I don't know why that was a tongue twister. And then with all those requirements met, it fires 75% less shard projectiles. So yeah, it's a threshold for SST, which is again not super common, but a pretty cool one if you're playing it. And then Essence Worm is one that everybody loves. +2 to socketed aura gems. They reserve no mana, and then but across the board you're gonna increase your mana reserve by quite a bit. So. Very powerful, very widely used, unique, and that brings us to a solid 330. So I was just doing a delve node to use up some sulfite and gain a few levels down here. I clicked on a totally random. Maybe this was a unique item specific one. Anyway, I clicked on the one chest that showed up after this buried camp was over. Out popped a Condo's Pride. And a 6-link Stinking Death's Heart. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty sweet. I'll take it. Can you explain? Just give me a rundown real quick, because I've never taken the time to read this fully, which I probably should have done at some point when I decided I was playing a minion build. What exactly do people mean by tracking down and banking specters? Because that way, if we lose them, I wouldn't mind these. This is exactly the specter I want every time, which is the Carnage Chieftain and the Host Chieftain, which apparently gets stuck here every single time we come out of a map. They never move. Maybe I could read Kay's guide and just figure it out. So my understanding is they create a PvP character leveled high enough for you to go to their hideout and desecrate to get your specters in their pool. Like your own PvP character? Hold on. I want to find this out because this sounds very... I think there's a section on in here. Let's learn together. This is what this whole channel is about. So just gonna talk real fast so we can get through this real fast. Kay's videos are awesome though.
Hi everyone, it's Kay. This video is a guide for saving specters in a specter bank.
Okay, buy one level 1 Ray Spectrum, level 1 Dust Crate. Create PvP only witch. On PvP only witch, reset all passives. Path to Death attunement. Take Dex and Strength notable. Spectre Bank holds 2 specters, and Queen's Decrees add 1 + 1 specter.
Use from another. Log on to your specter bank.
Okay, here's what I want to
Saving
know.
a specter to the bank
Okay.
is very simple. Just enter your hideouts with the specter you want to save. Then log on to your specter bank. Desecrate, and then raise the specter. This works because any map or zone, including your hideouts, has a list of what can be desecrated, and any raised specter that enters the zone will be added to the list. Each bank can hold 2 or 3 specters, and the specters will be saved in the specter bank until you delete the character or replace them with another specter.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay, that's exactly right there. That's what I was wondering about. Okay. So PvP only. Okay, let's try this. So I have points. I want to go right here to Death Attunement, right? So we go 1, 2, boom, boom. Okay. Now I have access to all my other stuff, right? So the Queen's Decree, which I believe I have. Haha.
I've not the muscle for that.
What? You don't have the muscle for that. Let's get you the muscle for that. What does she need? She 56 and 44. Right? Okay. So Queen's Decree gives us +1. So this witch can now bank 3 specters for me. Is that what I'm understanding? That's good. Okay. Turns out we got to do this. I have to go I have to go buy chromes because I used all my chromes on getting the gear for the witch. Jeez, this is painful. All right. So now we go, right? So now I hold on to a Carnage Chieftain and a Host Chieftain. There we go. We got the Spectre Bank. Boom, we did it. What an awesome thing that took me way too long to understand how it works. Okay, I'm going to attempt to do this all in one take. It has been a while since I did a unique roundup. I've done a bunch of streams, and they were kind of just adding up. And then the day that I was planning on doing the roundup, which would have pretty much cut this in about half and made this into 2 different roundups, I was kind of sick and just wasn't able to record. So we built up kind of a huge stockpile of new uniques, and we're going to go through them all right now. Just in one big shot. And so you can see we've got a couple of really sweet ones. We got a couple new ritual uniques. And yeah, I mean, we basically have a couple of the pieces for a solid Bane build in here too. So let's just get into it. Starting, we're going to basically go left to right, top to bottom as much as I can. I kind of separated them out into categories. So weapons and offhands and all that stuff. So Agnerod West, this is our third of the 4 Agnerod staffs, or stays, I guess. They're all lightning based, so this one has increased lightning damage to spells, +2 to level of lightning spell skill gems, and then the damage penetrates lightning resistance. Edge of Madness is a very cool scaling sword. You don't see too many of these outside of the Onigoroshi. But Edge of Madness is very cool. It starts out, you can equip it at 22, but then it also gains per level you get increased chaos damage, and you get added fizz damage per level. So it'll kind of scale with you as you level, and it has +1 to level of the socketed active skill gem. So not supports, but whatever you have in there that's an active skill gem, +1. On's Heritage is a really cool, massive shield. Very neat. It's got a bunch of life. It gives you -1 max endurance charges, so naturally you'd be at 2 if you don't have any other increases or decreases. It has less maximum chance to block attack damage. The big two things are down at the bottom, though. If you have no endurance charges, you get +2 to max res, putting you naturally at 77% for all. And then if you have maximum endurance charges, you have onslaught. So the thing there is you get them both if both of them are true. So you already get -1 with the shield, and if you can get 2 other -1 maximum endurance charges, you, by equipping the shield, will have permanent onslaught and +2 to all max resistances. These two both have the same tagline. We'll see the hits can't be evaded. So we have the Tempestuous Steel. It's a low-level sword, has a bunch of attack speed. Then attacks with it penetrate a lot of elemental resistances. And then you gain Fizz as extra fire and Fizz as extra lightning. So a lot of early damage penetration, as well as gaining even more Fizz as elemental. And again, hits can't be evaded. And then Ornament of the East is a little bit higher level, a Claw. It gives +1 to socketed dex gems. Anything socketed in it is supported by level 10 faster attacks. So anything from an active skill to whirling blades or movement skill would be really good in here. It has high Fizz damage and high attack speed. And again, your hits can't be evaded. Flesh Eater is a mace. It's a pretty cool one. It has decent attack speed for a mace. And then you leech your Fizz damage, but also if your enemies are bleeding, you leech a huge amount of attack damage as life. That's 4 total percent. Against bleeding enemies, it has chance to bleed on hit itself naturally, and if you can bleed stuff, man, you are going to leech a lot of life. Moonbender's Wing is a very strange one. You trigger level 15 Lightning Warp on hit with this weapon, so you're going to be all over the place all the time. It's a movement skill that teleports you. Has Fizz damage, has some crit chance, and then hits with this weapon gain a bunch of Fizz damage as extra cold or lightning. So kind of not quite like this where it gains both. It gains a lot more total, but as either extra cold or lightning. Moving down, Touch of Anguish is a pretty neat claw. It does a lot of cold damage, has a lot of crit chance, and then if you kill a frozen enemy, you got a 1 in 5 chance to get a Frenzy Charge, and when you're at max Frenzy Charges, your skills chain. But the catch with this is that critical strikes while you're wearing this do not inherently freeze, so you're going to need a chance to freeze elsewhere or dealing high amounts of cold damage per hit. The first of our... in this, we've got 2 ritual uniques that we found. The first one is Katra's Regulator. It's a shield. It's wild. It has spell dodge. It's an evasion and energy shield. It has a huge damage over time multiplier if you've dealt a critical strike in the last 8 seconds. 49% is huge. And as well as that, you gain 2% of your life regenerated per second if you dealt a crit in the last 8 seconds. That all seems amazing, except the downside is incredibly severe. You lose 13% you lose a percentage of both your life and energy shield from 10 to 15. You lose that percentage when you deal a critical strike. So you have huge benefits if you've crit recently. Well, not recently, in the last 8 seconds. But you also lose a whole bunch of life and DS if you've done that. So be careful with this thing. You can kill yourself real easy. Then Rise of the Phoenix is one of the kite shields, so it has all resistances, has a bunch of life and life regen, and then it's pretty clearly a fire-based shield here, so it gives you +5 to max fire res, putting it naturally at 80. It gives you fire res. While you're on low life, you get even more, and it's a kind of a combination fire res and low life shield. You gain movement speed and ignite immunity along with that fire resistance when you are on low life. So that's our weapons and offhands. Moving on to the body armors. Victario's Influence is the classic Orabot body armor. Everything socketed in it does not need to be linked together. They are all supported by level 30 Generosity, which is the support that makes all auras apply to all your enemies with greater effect, and they don't work on you, basically. It gives +1 level to the socketed aura gems. They have less mana reservation. You can kind of see where this is going. It's about putting auras in there and buffing your allies to the max. It's a pretty cool body armor. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'll have a use for it other than sitting in the stash tab to complete it, but it's a pretty cool body armor. Cosprey's Will is one of my favorite body armors. I rarely use it anymore, but it's one of my favorites. It's an evasion rating based armor because it's an assassin's garb, so you have movement speed. It gives you chaos resistance. The big thing is those last 3 lines. You can apply an additional curse, raising your limit naturally to 2. Your hexes can affect hexproof enemies. Very nice. Currently, one of the only other ways to get that as like a static effect is being an occultist and taking Profane Bloom. And then you have 60% chance to poison on hit against cursed enemies. So it's a very cool. You can clearly see what it wants you to be doing. It's a very cool body armor, and we're going to see another item down here that goes very well with it. But let's go right to left and finish out these last bottom row here. So March of the Legion is a pair of boots that are again based on auras. So you get +2 to socketed auras. Socketed gems are supported by a level 25 blessing, which I totally forgot to look up. So you're going to have to do that on your own because I'm not looking it up in the middle of the video. That's just how we do it. It gives all resistances, which is pretty rare for a unique. And it has a pretty high, for a unique, it also has very high increased movement speed. Typically you see 15 or 20% on uniques. This one has, I'm guessing this is a range, yep, 20 to 30%. So very cool pair of boots. Orsees, I'm assuming this is how you pronounce it. Orsees, they are just basically, it's a rarity piece of gear, magic find piece of gear. It gives you the basic armor and evasion. It gives you some all resistances, which is really nice. It doesn't have any life, but it has huge increased rarity at the cost of slightly reduced movement speed. So a magic find piece of gear, kind of along the lines of Sidema's Touch, but yeah, you get that minus movement speed in exchange for massive rarity. Learcast is a kind of another ally buffing item. Apparently, we found a lot more of those than I even realized. For you get 30% reduced damage. That kind of stinks. But for you and nearby allies, that you all gain 15% increased damage. So for you, it's a 15% net loss. For your allies, it's a 15% net gain. So again, another thing to buff the players that you might be playing with around you. Crown of Eyes, really cool. Again, another one that's like incredibly awesome artwork. The eyes coming out the top are all really cool, different colors. Very cool. It is a Hubris Circlet, so it's an energy shield helmet. You leech life and mana from your attack damage. Not spell damage, your attack damage leeches life and mana. And then that bottom line is the one that gets people to use it. So increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attacks at 150% of their value. Very cool. Nice way to turn the section of the tree that typically covers spellcasting and just kind of turn that into an attacking powerhouse section of the tree with the Crown of Eyes. The only amulet we have is a Tear of Purity. It is an intelligence amulet. It grants the level 10 Purity of Elements skill. And then in addition to that, it has all attributes. It has max life. And then if you're looking to be ailment immune, elemental ailment immunity, it has 5% chance to avoid that as well. We got another unique map, Death and Taxes. This one I found at tier 16. It is a very tough map. You can see the boss has just a lot of buffs. They drop very good items though, and 20,000% experience seems nice. It's still a very low amount overall, but yeah, it's a pretty cool map. I'm kind of hoping we get more so we can run some of them. But yeah, it's nice to add to the collection of unique maps. We got 4 unique rings and then 4 jewels to talk about. So Tassilios Sign is a really cool one to pick up because this is a league-specific thing. This is from Bloodline, so it's really cool to get this one kind of acquired and out of the way. So it adds cold damage to your spells and attacks, just like Herald of Ice. You have a high chance to avoid being chilled. You have an additional chance to freeze, and then you add a lot of just flat cold damage against chilled enemies. So it's a pretty simple ring, but it's a pretty cool one. Rot Blood Promise is the other of the brand new ritual uniques that we found so far. So socketed gems in there in the unset ring. They're supported by level 20 Blasphemy, which is really cool. Your curses in there also affect you, which depending on how you use it is either very uncool or very cool. The socketed curse gems. No, I read that wrong. I completely read that wrong. I'm not even cutting this out. I'm leaving it in. So your curse auras from socketed skills also affect you. No, I did read that right. Okay. Yep. I just can't read. It's 1:40 in the morning for me here. Your socketed curse gems have 50% reduced mana reservation. That's really cool. And you have reduced effective curses on you, and you deal more damage with hits and ailments against curse enemies. So as you can see, pretty much wants you to be cursing stuff as much as you can, but you're going to get some of that cursing affecting you as well. Profane Proxy is one I was really, really excited to see. It gives +3 to the level of your socketed curse gems. That's huge. +3 is a massive number that you rarely see. It has cold resistance and lightning resistance, and depending on whether you put it in your left ring slot or your right ring slot, your Skitterbot's aura, either the chilling aura applies the hex or the shocking aura applies the socketed hex. So this lets your Skitterbots turn into just kind of roving hex machines, which is really, really cool, and is a really exciting pickup that we can use in a lot of builds. And then to pair up with the Cosprey's Will, potentially, we've got a Dweedre's Damning. This gives all resistances, which is awesome. It gives you mana on kill, and you can apply an additional curse. So very cool with let's say Cosprey's and Dweedre's Damning both being equipped. You can apply 3 curses. You can see how this leads itself into kind of a nice setup for like a Bane build or just kind of a curse bot type of thing. So very cool ring, and good to get that out of the way. Martial Artistry, moving on to the jewels. It gives you a huge increase to your melee strike range while you are unarmed. And then the passive skills in its radius, in addition to their normal ones, it doesn't change them, but they also grant increased attack speed with your unarmed attacks. Really neat gem, or jewel. Growing Agony is kind of an interesting one. I actually found this in back-to-back packs in a map. I killed a pack, dropped one. I killed the next pack. It dropped another. So I got these literally back-to-back in 2 packs. Gives you increased damage over time, and then it's a threshold, basically a threshold jewel for Viper Strike. And that's pretty much it. It lets Viper Strike do increased damage with hits and poisons for each poison on the enemy. And then also has a 10% chance to poison, or per poison on enemy to grant Unholy Might. I promise I can read. Like I said, it's very early in the morning. All this is staying in. Combat Focus is the Crimson Jewel. It's one of 3 that kind of affect what elements elemental hit deals when it hits. This one basically, excuse me. So this one, it's a threshold jewel. So as long as you meet those requirements, elemental hit and wild strike deal 50% less cold damage. And then, but they also cannot choose cold. So you would typically use this combat. You'd use 2 of them together to eliminate 2 of the elements and basically do all of your elemental hit damage with one specific element that you want to scale. So we got 1 of the 3 so far. And finally, we have the Crip Special Hidden Potential. So this was kind of made very popular one time. When Kripparrian was using a bunch of, or was using this and a bunch of all magic items to deal very, very high damage in a build. It was really neat. But yeah, this gives basically 25% increased damage for each magic item equipped. So you're giving up some mods in return for just a whole lot of increased damage. So with that, as I fumbled my way through it, that set of uniques puts us all the way up to 356. We've crossed the 350 barrier, and we're pressing on towards 400, so pretty exciting. All right, and that's going to do it for this episode. I cut a lot of kind of stream stuff from the last couple of weeks that hasn't really been relevant. There's been a lot of fun chatting, and including playing some other games like Last Epoch and stuff. And because of that, we are basically caught up, which is pretty cool. 350 uniques is a good chunk of the kind of base, world drops and all the very common uniques and stuff. So we made a lot of really good progress. And I would keep an eye out now that with 3.14 coming up, Ultimatum League, keep an eye out. There will be one more video coming out in the next day or 2 in this series with some very, very important info. We'll do kind of a wrap-up of where we got to this league and discuss plans moving forward. So you definitely, if you're following the series, you want to check out the video that'll be coming up. But as for this video, that's going to do it. We're at 356, I believe. I have been Shack Central, and I will see you guys next time.